Yeah, so my name is Carol. I'm a doctor. I live here in the south of Brazil. I'm Brazilian. I'm 39 years old,
Hmm.
and that's it.
Okay. And then how many times have you taken ayahuasca?
Probably around 40.
Wow.
I know it's impressive.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to have done 40, I'm not gonna lie.
hmm
So
I
like,
never,
oh, sorry.
no, I never thought I would go so many times. I never thought I would go at all. So
So
it is, yeah.
yeah, what made you make the step?
So the story is, I was on my last year of med school,
Hmm.
and my best friend, she had depression for many years. She was also going to med school with me, and she took several meds. And one of our professors, who was also her doctor, he told her, "When you're off meds, I'm gonna take you to meet ayahuasca," because he also suffered with depression. He had suicidal thoughts,
Hmm.
and he did not get better with regular meds. So when he met ayahuasca, he felt cured, and he wanted to give her the opportunity as well. So when he invited her, I said, "I want to go with."
Yeah, that I mean, I get it, you know. It helped me a lot with mine as well. I was incredibly nihilistic before ayahuasca, and I feel a lot more positive these days.
hmm
But is every
And
ex oh, sorry.
no, I thought actually I was doing great, and I didn't understand what ayahuasca was. I was just going for a once in a lifetime experience. I thought I'm
Okay.
gonna feel safe because the doctor is there. And actually, the place where we had this ritual is owned by another doctor. So two doctors were gonna be there. I thought,
Mm,
yeah, if I'm ever gonna do this, this is the opportunity. So that's why I went.
mm. And clearly you loved it.
Yeah.
Like 40 times is a lot.
Uh-huh.
But do you think it helped with like studying medicine as well, or was it just a personal thing?
I think it was a personal thing, but it made me more focused. So, of
Okay.
course, I was more present in everything I was doing. So, I think I live my life like this now, more present,
Mm,
not thinking so much about the past or worrying about the future. So, I think
yeah.
this makes me better at everything that I do nowadays.
Oh wow, that's amazing. But I mean, okay, 40 times, right?
Uh-huh.
Have they been similar or have they been radically different each time?
They are different. And that's why I say that if you're willing to know ayahuasca, you should at least try it 3 times, because
Mm,
then you're going to realize that every time you take it is different. Sometimes it's going to be just wonderful, very nice.
mm,
Sometimes it's going to be difficult, exhausting. You're just going to wish it to be over already. But
yeah.
either way, it's wonderful and it's life-changing. So each time is a different time.
Has it changed your life every time you've taken it?
Uh, I think there were more important ceremonies, game changers, but sometimes, even though you get the message, you don't do it,
Mm.
because ayahuasca, because
Yeah.
ayahuasca doesn't cure. It gives
No.
you the key for you
Mm,
to do it yourself. It helps you. It
mm,
guides you to where you should go, and it opens your mind to a conscious that you're able to do it.
mm.
But so sometimes you go, like last year I went at one point and it said, "How many times are you going to come here for you to understand that you need to exercise daily? You need to exercise, move your butt." So,
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. You'd think already studying medicine, you would understand that fact already, but
yeah.
yeah. And do you have any sessions, like any ceremonies that really stick out to you?
So, yeah, of course. I think all of them were um, unique.
Yeah.
But so the first one I think was the most important, because I was not expecting what I got. So I took a little bit. After an hour, I drank a little bit more. One more hour, I drank a little bit more, and I was feeling calm. I was feeling relaxed. But at one point, I knew, I was like, this is it, you know?
Oh yeah.
And I was actually, I don't know what was going on my mind, but someone tried to talk to me and I didn't respond. So this person went to my professor and said, she's not talking. And so he got up from where he was and he came and he jumped in front of me and said, Carol. I was like, what? And he said, this is God.
Oh bloody
And
hell.
this was very profound. He hugged me and we cried and we left and we cried and we left. And I kept saying,
Wow.
yeah, this is God. So I think this is why I went back so many times. This was because it's not that I didn't believe in God, but I never thought about it much. I tried
Mm.
not to think about it.
Yeah.
But at that point, I knew something bigger existed. And so, yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, I had very religious experiences myself, and I went from a complete agnostic or borderline atheist to now completely changing that idea, to be honest. But yeah. Um,
hmm
have you always done it in Brazil?
Yeah, always in Brazil. I've drank it like in three different places, but always around here, never abroad. I would like to have this experience at one point.
Yeah. Any countries that stick out the most to you, or just
Mm, Actually, so even the Amazon, I would like to try it in the middle of the jungle and
yeah.
so with
It's
the
kind of crazy you've done it.
indigenous.
Oh, sorry. It's kind of crazy that you've done it 40 times and not never in the jungle.
I'm not a traveler.
Okay.
Actually, I was for many years, but so the past years was just, work, work, work. So I didn't get the chance to travel, but I would like to for sure.
Mm. Yeah, no, I haven't done it in Brazil yet. I'm looking forward to when I eventually get to do it. So, but
How many times have you done it?
only like four or five, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
But
Uh-huh.
I really want to do it more. I feel like it's getting so far now between the two,
Uh-huh.
like since I did it, and I'm just like I'm kind of getting itchy to do it again.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying, but this is what it is. Would you say that it's changed you a lot over the years?
It has. So I think I see life differently.
Mm,
So from this believing in God, this major connection with nature and all the beings, um, I came to understand that I'm not in control of most of the things that happen to me,
yeah.
but I am in control of my thoughts and my actions. So ayahuasca allows me to have more control over myself, which is the only thing that I can control. And I think this makes me more happy.
Mm,
Basically, what I was doing and what most people do is we distract ourselves with things
oh yeah.
and we're not really focusing on what matters. So ayahuasca shows you this doesn't matter. Don't, this matters. So
So
you
what
kind
is it
of,
that matters to you?
I think, um, so living each day fully
Hmm.
with presence, as I said. So, for example, I have 25, 30 patients a day, but instead
That's a
of
lot.
just, yeah, that's a lot of people, but instead of just getting over with it and going home, no, when I'm there, when I'm talking to them, I'm doing my job, I'm
Mm,
really focusing on that. And I try to be happy on each moment because extraordinary moments are rare.
mm.
So we need to learn how to be happy on the little moments in
Oh
every
yeah.
moment.
Mm. Yeah, I think I know what you're saying. Man, it must be exhausting. Like 30 patients a day.
It can be, uh-huh.
Yeah. But it does sound like it has helped you because if, obviously if you could do 30 patients a day and still smile, do you reckon you could have done it
Mhm.
before? Like, do you reckon you would have been the kind of person that could do that before ayahuasca, or would it have been too tough?
No, I think yeah, maybe a little tougher because I wouldn't be as happy doing what I do. And I think when you're just willing to get over with the day and go home, it's harder. I think I wouldn't pay so much attention and I would just want to get over with the patients
Mm,
and just leave, as sometimes I have some patients that, oh, I have a sore throat, and that's like 10 minutes. Sometimes I'm gonna have so more delicate subjects that I'm gonna willingly spend 40 to 50 minutes, So,
yeah, that's crazy. Oh my God. I guess for me, like ayahuasca, like seems to show people purpose. So if you're doing something that has
hmm
purpose to it, you're going to enjoy doing it a lot more. I think when
it's
you
true.
just waste when you're just wasting your life, it kind of starts kick you in the ass, and you're like, "Come on, time to move, do something else, like
Uh-huh,
actually do something with your life."
uh-huh.
So it must be nice to have like a purposeful existence while also doing ayahuasca to make it
It's
better.
true. hmm
So like, do you ever like obviously like Aya was originally like a ritualistic thing to help shamans and witch doctors see like different problems. Does ayahuasca ever help you with like diagnoses or anything?
Yes and no. I think it mostly helps me to be a better doctor for my patients.
Oh, okay.
But yes, sometimes I'm in the middle of a ritual and this comes to my mind. Oh, you should have done this, you should have done that. And I'm like, "Oh, just shut up."
I just want to have a good time here.
Yeah, and it's my time to be the patient there.
Yeah, yeah, true. It's
So
your
I'm
time
not the
to heal.
doctor. It's my time to heal. So I try not to think about it too much. But ayahuasca is not only the ritual, so it's 4 or 5 hours of ritual, and then you go home, your conscience is open,
Mm,
so the following days also you get a lot of messages on what you should be doing and how to get better. So yeah, that's mostly when I think a lot about my patients and then I come to different conclusions. And I always get better as a doctor as well, I think.
yeah, it sounds like it's actually helping you a lot. Maybe more doctors should take ayahuasca.
Yeah, and actually, it's incredible the amount of doctors that do take ayahuasca.
Really?
Yeah.
So there is absolutely something there, isn't there? Like you wouldn't have such a popularity in the medical field if
Yeah, and nowadays there are a lot of studies showing that it can be used in multiple ways to heal.
mm,
So I think seeing those studies and other people talking about it. So, and the doctors that I talk to that haven't taken ayahuasca, they almost always want to and are interested and curious.
interesting. Because from the Western world, they'd probably see doctors taking ayahuasca as some kind of like hippie movement thing, you know?
hmm
And then like my doctor taking ayahuasca, come on, man, what is he? He should just cure medicine, not go and trip in the forest kind of thing. But
Yeah, so a friend of my mother's asked her if I was going to be less hippie once I graduated from med school, and I thought that was
oh,
that was funny. It's still a
so
joke.
yeah, well, obviously you kind of gone down the path now, haven't you?
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
But I mean, like, what do you think of the psychedelic movement, like in the Western world? Obviously, a lot of people come into Brazil and South America for ayahuasca and everything.
I think it exists, and it's good. It's showing progress. Um, It does heal all those psychedelic drugs, even LSD or MDMA. The thing about those drugs are they're not natural because
Mm,
ayahuasca is natural not only from nature, from the plants, but it's always also natural from your body because you
mm,
produce this uh, in a small amount, but you do.
mm.
So, but yeah, there have been many proofs that they work. I don't think it's easy. You have to have courage,
I
but
absolutely.
they do work, and if you're willing to try, why not?
Mm. Do you think what would you have to say like the big difference between like psilocybin and ayahuasca would be? Because obviously like they're pretty common in Brazil, both of them. Do you reckon they have
hmm
like a different kind of take on helping people or?
Yes and no. I think so. Ayahuasca is a teacher plant, what I say. So it teaches you a lot. It gives you straightforward lessons. So what I say is when you're thinking about a problem at home and you're coming up with solutions and thinking of pros and cons, as to when you take ayahuasca, it just comes to you. Do
Mm,
this, and there's no explanation. It just comes from inside. So I see ayahuasca as a teacher plant. I haven't had this experience with psilocybin. I think the psilocybin I have taken before. If it gives you a great connection with the whole, with nature.
mm,
Uh, it brings you well-being. Overall, some people take microdoses,
mm.
which can be nice as antidepressives. There is a difference. They are not the same. They
Yeah.
both work differently, I think.
Okay. That's because like mushrooms are it's like aptogens, right? They basically are like really good for helping with anxiety just naturally, like, lion's mane and reishi and things like that. They like
Yeah.
cure a lot of anxiety things, so maybe that's a contributing thing.
Uh-huh,
I don't know. I'm
exactly.
not. I'm not a nutritionist, or I'm just spitballing here.
I think both can help with anxiety. I was a very anxious person before taking ayahuasca. And so this was part of my the heal of anxiety, not worrying too much about the future,
Mm.
chill.
Yeah, not to worry too much about the past either. I think that's the one that gets me
Mm-hmm.
the most.
Mm-hmm.
And do you truly believe that ayahuasca is like healing like the body as well as the mind, or is it just like a purely like being thing, like a soul thing?
Well, so I see it as so your brain is like a forest, and when you first get into the forest and you're like, I have to go through, and then you start cutting the bushes and the trees and
Okay.
you make a way. And I think our brain tends to take always this way because it's easier, because
Mm,
it's there. So we keep thinking the same patterns over and over again.
yeah.
And this can be self-destructing in the rest of our body as well. So I think when you take ayahuasca, the DMT, it opens up all the possible ways. So not only ayahuasca is going to give you some important lessons, but it also is going to make your brain more available, I guess.
Oh,
You
okay.
can start thinking differently because your mind is open to that if you want to. But it's something you need to be willing to. It's not like
Mm.
it's going to do it ayahuasca is not going to change your mind. It's going to give you hints of what you have to do, and it's going to allow your brain to take different paths of thinking. So,
I think what you described is kind of like neural networks. So in like
yeah,
machine learning, there's like neural networks, and basically what I get from that is like ayahuasca allows you to access different neural networks rather than the same one that you've had your entire life.
exactly.
That's interesting. That's really that's a really cool thought to have, to be honest. Do you ever like obviously because of you're a doctor, right? Do you ever face like any stigmatism from people around like, or is it just like a normal thing? Or you said a lot of doctors take ayahuasca, so
They do, but I don't think they talk about it as openly as I do. From other doctors, I see a lot of acceptance.
mm,
From people in general, yeah, I think actually they respect more my opinion because I'm a doctor. So maybe someone is saying something on my back, but I don't know of.
yeah.
Uh, Mostly people respect and they listen to what I have to say, and sometimes they might not decide to take it,
Mm.
even though I recommend it.
Oh, do you
But
actually recommend ayahuasca to your patients?
not my patients, but my
Okay.
friends, family,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. For a second, because can you do that? Like, can you actually recommend it, or is it kind of like a faux pas?
Yes, no, yes, you can. So the institute of this doctor that I first started taking ayahuasca at, he recommended straightforward to his patients. But I work for the SUS. I don't have a private
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're a
office.
public doctor basically.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah.
So I think I better not talk about it as openly there to my patients, at the moment, but maybe in the future.
Yeah, maybe when you have a private practice and everything. Do you, so would you say like the big differences between taking like antidepressants versus taking ayahuasca? Like are there like is there like major benefits for ayahuasca over antidepressants?
So, antidepressants, I think they have more side effects, first of
Mm,
all, and you need to take them daily. As to ayahuasca, you can take it every once in a while, and it doesn't have major side effects. I think it's a long-lasting wellness that you feel when you drink
mm,
ayahuasca. So I think that's the major difference. And sometimes meds don't work as well. We have very resistant depressions, for example, but that when they take ayahuasca or psilocybin, they get better. So,
and for the people that are like really anxious about ayahuasca, like what about them?
so even though I've taken ayahuasca 40 times, I'm still afraid to go.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I think you always need to do it with respect
Hmm.
and seeking a healing, wanting to open your conscious and be better. So, first of all, I think the intention is very important.
Mm,
I would say start with a little bit. Don't
yeah.
start with much,
Mm,
and find the amount that you need so you can have a good work. Let's say we call it a work,
yeah, of
you
course.
know, I'm working.
It is work, It is 6 hours
Uh-huh.
of a lot of suffering,
Uh-huh.
not suffering, but yeah, work is a good way of describing it.
Uh-huh. But you have to respect your body. I take it just enough for me to get there.
Mm,
Because if I take too much, and I have taken too much, it can be very difficult, even though being difficult is not bad.
mm,
So the most significant ceremonies I've been to were the most difficult ones, actually. So, and I think the main point is to know that even though it might be good or it might be difficult, it's always going to make sense.
mm,
So if you're willing to go through this experience, knowing it will end, this is
yeah.
also key point. It is going to end. So if at some point you get very nervous, you just remember that. So this is just a moment. Why am I here? What do I need to work?
Mm.
Always remember why you're there and that it's going to end, and it will be fine.
Okay, so what is the most intense experience that you've had?
Well, I went to this ceremony and they were serving another kind of ayahuasca, which is a honey ayahuasca. I did not know how much stronger it was, and I took the same amount that I usually take because because they cook ayahuasca for several days. And
Mm,
this honey ayahuasca, they cook more, they put more leaves and cook, put more leaves and cook. So it's called honey because it's very thick from being
okay.
cooked over and over again. So when it started, oh my God, it was really, really, really intense. But at the same time, it was one of the most meaningful ceremonies because so much changed after. So that's why I say just trust it.
Mm. And what actually specifically happened in the ceremony? Like, what did you see?
It's hard to describe an ayahuasca experience,
Yeah.
but I'm the kind of person who takes a lot of blankets and pillows because we usually lay down for the
Mm.
ceremonies I go to. So I had like this very comfortable place, but instead I got up and I went to the grass and I was like rolling over the grass and
Oh, okay.
looking at the stars and hugging trees, and I would just feel so sick and just throw up. I usually don't in
Mm.
ayahuasca. It's very rare, but that day was so messy. I was all over the place, and it felt like every second lasted, I don't know, a minute. So it was
Mm.
endless.
Yeah.
Very exhaustive, actually. So this is the thing. Sometimes it's exhausting because it seems like it's taking forever. It seems
Mm.
like it's endless. And the funny thing is that when it's over, you don't remember it quite well. You're like, how? I
Yeah.
was suffering for it to be
It,
done and I don't remember.
Do you ever think this is kind of like a trauma response? You know, sometimes you go through trauma and then your brain like like forgets it because it's like I can't deal with that. It's like too much. Do you reckon it's ever anything like that?
Maybe I always saw it as being too much information for a brain to absorb. So when your brain is all working and firing up and
Mm.
making all those connections, you can feel it. But once the connections are, not so strong anymore, then it's you don't remember. I don't know. I think it's too much.
So where
Uh-huh.
would you recommend in Brazil to do it?
I think anywhere that you feel safe is good, you know. You should
Mm.
probably know where the ayahuasca is coming from a place with a lot of praying and intentions. So a good place that's making the ayahuasca you're going to drink. And you go on a place where you feel safe. I think it's good so you can just enjoy,
Mm.
because otherwise you're going to be afraid. And being afraid is the worst. Where I go to is in the middle of not in the middle of the forest, but it's a forest. It has a
Mm.
lake. We always have fire, so we seek for these natural elements more,
Mm.
But it's always laying down, and you can sit by the fire if you want, but you always have a place to lay down.
One
Because
second.
for us, where I take it, what we believe is that you take ayahuasca to look inside, to
Mm.
see what's inside of you. So you have to close your eyes. As to in some other places, like Santo Daime, they're with their eyes open and reading and singing
Ah,
and
okay, yeah, yeah.
dancing, so it's more outside.
Yeah, I mean, I like both. Like
Hmm.
I've had like two shamans. One of them was very introspective, and the other one was like dancing, singing, that kind of
Hmm.
stuff. And it was fun. Both of them were very fun. One of them was incredibly intense. Um, but it is nice to have a change up every now and again, just to experience different things, I guess. Have you ever taken
For
San
sure.
Pedro?
What? Which one?
San Pedro? Pedro?
No, I haven't. I haven't had the opportunity. One medicine that I have done is bufo. Have you ever heard of
Oh, I
bufo
really want to do
alvarius?
Buffalo. Yeah, that looks amazing. Well, it sounds amazing.
Bufo was really the experience that changed my life. So first of all, because after Bufo, I was not afraid of ayahuasca ever again
Yeah, I can imagine.
because
So
it
what
was
happened in your Buffalo experience?
so I was really, really afraid, but I was going through some hard times and I really felt like I needed it. And this shaman only comes to Brazil like once, maybe twice a year. So he was here that week, and I just felt the calling like, you have to go. So I went there and I was very, very, very nervous. It's
Yeah.
you inhale it
Okay.
and it's one inhale, just one. And then within seconds, you're out of your body. It's truly a near-death experience without nearly dying,
Mm.
and it was very intense. It lasts for about 5 to 15 minutes at the most, and it's really revealing. It was very difficult, but very worth it. I've done it 3 times already, once a
Wow.
year.
And is it different each time?
It's different, especially because the first time I was so afraid and it was so different, it was very scary.
Mm.
The next 2 times weren't as scary. They were very deep as well, but not as scary because I knew what was going on.
Mm. So it's more like a traditional DMT experience where you basically get shot off to another realm, rather than ayahuasca, which is like kind of like gradually dumped into. I don't know
Yeah.
how to describe it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it?
because the ayahuasca you drink and it has to go to your intestines and be
Mm.
absorbed. So it's slow as to
Mm.
when you inhale, it gets absorbed really quickly. And bufo is the thing in the world that has more DMT that you know of. So it's like 98% DMT. So it's
Jesus.
very strong.
Oh my God. Yeah. Do you think ayahuasca should be mainstream? Or do you reckon it should
Uh,
stay more niche?
I don't know. I think it's a hard experience. So I don't think it's going to be mainstream,
Mm,
but I think it should be more available to people and talk more about this possibility, especially the doctors, you know.
mm.
Uh, I know psychiatrists that give ayahuasca to the patients in offices and
Oh,
watch their
wow.
experience, but it's very rare. So,
Do you have any insight into that therapy? Like, does it work? Is it like kind of like a guided meditation with ayahuasca kind of thing, or
kinda, yeah, it's kind of like a guided meditation, you could say. It's an individual experience as to when you go to rituals, you have this what
yeah?
we call a chain because everyone is part of the same thing. It's really crazy how the other people in the room influence what you're going to
Mm.
experience. But yeah.
Because I think in England we started doing like studies with like heroic dosing psilocybin, and it's
Hmm.
been working reasonably well. So I guess it makes sense to try and include ayahuasca into therapy where in a place where it's legal.
Hmm. Hmm.
Would you go into psychotherapy if you had the opportunity?
Maybe not today because I'm okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, I in the future maybe, you know. I like what I do nowadays, but I would consider in the future.
Do you think ayahuasca has like a lot of long-term benefits for the general people?
I think so. That's what I see among the people that I know that take ayahuasca and myself.
Mm.
So I think everyone should have the opportunity, even though not many people are going to want to. Like my
Very
family, for
true.
example, most people don't want to. They're like, okay, you go.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. Now, if I even told my mom, oh, I did ayahuasca, she doesn't know what it is, right? For one, so she
Hmm.
has no idea about this. And I think if I told her anything about it, she would absolutely lose her mind.
So the first reaction of my mother was, no, I can't believe you're taking it. And I was going all the time. And but I think first of all she believed me because I was a doctor. She was
Mm,
seeing that many doctors were doing it, so she believed it was something for the good. But after a while she noticed the changes in me. So she said, "Well, you're better, actually."
did it
Much
inspire her,
better.
or is?
She says that maybe sometime, you know, just like me, when I took ayahuasca, I thought I was great. I thought I
Mm,
didn't need it. Most people think, no, I'm doing good, you know,
mm,
unless you have a big problem with, I don't know, addiction or
yeah.
so a big depression or whatever, you're gonna always think, no, I'm good. And so she thinks she's good as well, but maybe someday I think one day she will.
Do you think setting and everything's really important to like having a healthy experience? Because I've met a lot of people, they have taken ayahuasca and had a really bad experience and come out worse off because of it. Would you reckon it's because they went to the wrong place, or because they had the wrong attitude towards it?
I think it makes a huge difference. So I've been to so many ceremonies and I still don't have the courage to do it on my own, for example, or with a few friends at home. I think the intention, the praying, the respect, everything involved
Mm,
really makes a difference. The people that take it with you, so as I said before, they make up this chain that's really important for what you're doing. So I believe mainly the wrong people, maybe the wrong amount.
mm, mm,
So a part of the ceremony is also having someone to talk to before and after. So the person who is serving the tea should be available for you. That's why I think it's very important for you to take in a place where you have access to these people after. For example, if you go in the middle of the jungle, you know nothing about ayahuasca, you take there once, you take a big amount, and you don't know these people, and then you're going to feel afraid and you have no one to talk to afterwards. This can be a bad experience,
mm. Yeah, no, that actually sounds horrible to be honest.
right?
Yeah, because from my perspective, it seems like ayahuasca is more about is very community driven. It's very much about bringing people into the circle, essentially. It's not really
Hmm.
even though it's like a very personal experience. It's very for everyone. I don't know how to describe it. It's like by focusing on the individual, you get more of a collective experience. Does that make sense?
It's true. And so the talks that I have with other people that take ayahuasca is part of the
Mm,
experience. After all the ceremonies, for example, we always have a music guided ceremony, and in the end, we turn on the light and we have this talk. So for as much time as it's needed, from half an hour to an hour and a half, we're just sharing our experiences, talking about it. And then one person says one thing, and then you say, "Yeah, I had the same experience, this, and that." And so sharing is very important.
mm.
And not only after the ceremonies, but so we have groups. Uh, so it's very important to share.
Okay. Yeah, because in my place that I went to, there was a lot of sharing involved, and it does seem to help actually a lot.
Mhm.
So, do you think that's the defining characteristic is sharing, or is it actually like the medicine itself?
So, yeah, I think so. The ayahuasca makes you feel more connected to everyone, and the experience is individual, but it's collective at the same time.
Mm,
So sharing makes all sense. Sometimes you think about something, but you don't quite understand, and then someone else in the end mentions something that makes completely sense, and then so everything, you understand better your experience based on the other experiences. So because you live this together, I think it drives you to want to share and
mm.
understand better what you lived.
Yeah. So do you really think it can help? Like, because obviously these days, there's like an epidemic of loneliness, they say in like the news and everything. Do you think
Mhm.
that could help in like society to try and help people get out of this like depressive hellscape that we seem to have found ourselves in?
I think every religion, that's something I always talk about with my patients, even though I don't talk about ayahuasca, I always ask, do you have a religion? Do you go
Mm,
to church? Because sometimes they don't, but they have the willing
mm,
to. And so having a community that believes in the same things as you, that's going to help you in case of need, I think it's really important for everyone with or without ayahuasca.
mm.
So, and if you drink ayahuasca, of course, you're going to have similar thoughts and similar experiences. So it makes sense that you have friends that take ayahuasca. So my best friends nowadays are the people I met in ayahuasca.
That makes a lot of sense. No, because I mean, from the in the Western world, we're very not religious. So I've noticed that when I try and talk about ayahuasca to people that are very atheistic, they just kind of roll their eyes and just like, yeah, whatever, man, it's just tea, the like psychedelic tea kind of thing.
I actually always say that you don't have to be religious to take ayahuasca.
Mm,
I didn't think about God when I took ayahuasca. I I think that when you take ayahuasca many times, it's very difficult for you to continue not
mm,
believing in God, but that's up to you. You can take ayahuasca, I think, without the religious side, but it's hard for you to take many times and not feel this connection with something greater, something bigger,
mm.
God or whatever. It is possible, but if the person doesn't want to, I accept.
Okay. What do you think about them taking like ayahuasca to like the Netherlands and America and things?
I I think it's great because it's for
Okay.
everyone. I think it's for everyone. Everyone should have the opportunity to try. If the right people are having the ceremonies and giving the tea and are responsible, know what they're doing, I don't see why not.
Mm,
So I think it's really unfair. And actually, people from Brazil, for example, I know that live in the United States and they come to Brazil, they take ayahuasca, they go to the US, they have nowhere to go. So I think it's a shame.
okay. I mean, it's kind of a controversial thing though, isn't it, in Brazil? Because a lot of people are quite purist about ayahuasca.
Hmm.
A lot of people take because it seems like there's a not a hatred, but a disdain from Westerners getting involved in like medicine and like the ceremonies and things.
I know, and even us that are not indigenous, there's like, what? This white girl is drinking ayahuasca. What does she think? She's a shaman or whatever.
Yeah, right. Which
But
which is
we we're
Oh no, I
all
was gonna.
human beings, you know? We're all
Mm,
human beings. It doesn't matter who my ancestors were. At some point, I might have had an indigenous ancestors as well. So I think we should all have this opportunity, you know, as humans.
I do find that most people that have taken ayahuasca absolutely believe in. Do you believe in like past lives and everything? Because I've noticed that people do when they take ayahuasca.
I do, yeah. I
Yeah.
do. You have this feeling that you have lived before.
Mm,
Sometimes you even have the feeling that you acknowledge some trauma that you lived in different lives and traumas that your ancestors lived.
mm.
It's really hard to explain.
No, yeah, I mean, I know, I completely understand, to be honest. That was a big trip of mine.
Hmm.
It was very interesting. And so, do you want, in like, say in 20 years, would the ideal world be spiritual primarily?
That's hard. I think we should get off social media and try to
Yeah.
live our lives more, you know. I think in 20 years we should care more for the other and for ourselves and be more human, respect more people. We act as if we were different just because you're from England, I'm from Brazil, whatever person is from whatever other place, but we're
Mm,
all the same. We're all equals. I think frontiers are an illusion. So ideally, I think we would care more for each other, you know, either spiritually or not, if you're religious or not, you should have this conscious that what matters is how you treat people and everyone deserves respect. And so I would say that.
did ayahuasca help with social media addiction for you?
Well, actually, after the ritual this last week, and I deleted Facebook and Instagram. I don't know why. It's just one of those things that come to my mind. It's like I was in the middle of carnival and just scrolling, and I thought,
Mm,
this is ridiculous. I don't want to be here. Why am I here? And then this thought came, everyone thinks it's normal, but it's not normal. People are crazy. So I just, in an impulse, I deleted it, and I don't know when I'm going to download it again, you know. I think sometimes patterns that society have,
mm,
we we think they're normal, but they're not. It's not normal. We're wasting our time. We're distracting ourselves.
mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So you think people need to start looking towards harder answers rather than easier ones? Because obviously social media is just the easy answer to fill your time. It's like the easiest solution to problems that we invent in our own head.
It's addictive. It's
Mm,
really addictive. And if you think about it, we keep looking at the same things because it keeps showing you what you want to see. So it's always the same thing that you're looking at, but differently. And so it distracts us from what we should be doing. So instead of enjoying a day off work, you're just spending a large amount of hours on social media, and that helps nothing with your growth, with so you being better at whatever.
so it's basically they're not creating the neural networks we talked about before.
Yeah, and it's an illusion because you feel like you're connected, but no one is
Yeah.
around.
No, Instagram in particular, Instagram and TikTok, in my mind, are a
Hmm.
plague. Like they basically create a absolutely false expectation of reality that everyone seems
Hmm.
to fall for. It's like all these people posting about cars and fancy holidays and stuff. It's like that's not real. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Uh,
And people tend to post the same things. For example, a person that goes to the gym, they post every day themselves going to the gym.
right.
Me, for example, going to rituals once a month, there is a ritual in my Instagram. That's not, why do people need to know that I went there? You know, it doesn't
Mm.
make any sense. It's just wasting everyone's time.
Not necessarily, because, well, in some ways, I think yes, I understand, but it's like by showing people rituals, you might inspire one person to go to a ritual. And then by showing people going to the gym, you may inspire a couple people to go to the gym, you know? So there is like some good. I just think the means of it being done is what's wrong because it's not about giving a message, it's about generating engagement and clicks rather than actually. Sorry.
Yeah, so actually what I said to my mom earlier today is that I didn't delete my accounts, But instead, I'm going on the browser and just, typing Instagram.com and getting
Mm.
into my account because that's going to make me more conscious. When do I want to go there instead of just getting my phone and all of a sudden I'm on Instagram and I didn't even realize it.
Yes. It's
I'm there
amazing
in
how
an impulse.
yeah, it's amazing how like a small barrier to entry, just a little bump can make all the difference in like a little bit of resistance, essentially.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's crazy. Everything's kind of about resistance. I think I just come to a really big realization though.
Hmm. So the problem is not Instagram, it's the addiction, it's
Mm,
the impulse, it's going there several times a day without even noticing. And when once you're there, you stay there for long. So
mm,
when you have this control, I think it tends to be, yeah, good.
mm. And obviously ayahuasca definitely helped with that, right? It's like
Yeah.
yeah. So maybe that's something that could happen in the future is like trying to get people off social media with ayahuasca. Because I've
Yeah.
noticed since then, well, I mean, I use it less, but I use it a lot less frequently. Like, I never use Facebook unless it's to like message friends from back home. But
Hmm.
Instagram, I'll go through, scroll for a bit, and then that's about it. But
Yeah.
yeah. Do you think social media is like one of the worst things for global mental health?
I don't know because before social medias we had televisions, so it's just the speed of everything that's going on. and
Yeah.
and then social media, for example, it's so fast because you access a link and then another. So when you get off social media, the world itself is not so fast, so it's boring to you. That's why it's
Mm.
so addicting. So yeah, I would say it is one of the reasons, but before that was other things, and I think in the future there will be other things, and we need to watch out. It's not the world that needs to change, it's us.
It can't be a revolution unless there's a revolution within oneself.
Yeah.
I like that one. I like that quote. I can't remember who said it though. Maybe it was William Blake. Could have been.
Hmm.
Do you ever like research into like not spiritual philosophy? Oh my God. Since taking ayahuasca?
Yes, actually, I love watching videos on YouTube or reading books. Stoicism, is that how you
Oh,
say it in
okay. Yeah,
English?
yeah, yeah.
So I'm really digging deep there right now, and watching a lot of videos, and I try to study, and it helps so much. I don't know how people like 2000 years ago had the same problems as we do today, and it's amazing.
Because
That's
the
why
problem.
I say social media is just one way, but the distractions are always there.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. Yeah, we just find different ways of distracting ourselves, actually. And I mean, technically,
hmm.
the ancient Greeks loved physical exercise, so you could say they were addicted to that, and it was a big
Yeah,
distraction for them.
true.
But yeah,
But a
no,
healthy distraction, just like ayahuasca,
yeah,
healthy.
I'm not like I'm just making a joke. That's entirely a joke. It's not serious
Uh-huh.
at all. But yeah, no, it's crazy that we're now resorting to 3,000-year-old philosophies to help us with lives because a lot of the philosophies you see online these days are Stoicism or something Stoic adjacent.
Hmm.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, I went through my whole phase of Stoicism a while ago, but
Hmm.
it's like now I'm just watching loads of people and I'm like, okay, okay, so we're here now, and
Hmm.
minimalism as
Makes,
well.
yeah, true, true.
Like, is that something that we should be thinking about? Like, and minimalism is like, is that because we've now got to a point where wages and wealth is just so unequal that we have to look to ways to make enjoyment out of having like a small amount of stuff?
Actually, I think we should try to look at stuff and think, is this something I need or is this something I want?
Mm,
And how is this going to make my life better? Do
mm,
I want to buy this just because it makes me happy to buy it? Or because I want to show it off?
mm.
What's my intention on buying this? And having more conscious. Nowadays, I think even when I'm going to drink a bottle of water, it's inevitable. I look at the bottle and I think, where is this bottle going?
Oh, you mean like a
Because
plastic?
out is somewhere. It's
Mm,
not, it doesn't just vanish. So I think everything that we buy, that we throw away, and stuff in general, this is going somewhere. And we lost sense of reality because there are so many of us nowadays in this world. Uh, so 100 years ago, there were many less people in the world. Nowadays, so many people, and those things need to go somewhere, you know? So
Mm.
we don't think about it actually, but it's something we should be thinking about. And it's difficult because I still need to drink water, and I feel bad about the bottle.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, fair enough. But you could just get a recyclable, no, a reusable bottle, right?
No, that's what I do. I don't buy little bottles anymore. Actually, I filter my water and put
Mm.
it on the same bottle always, you know, so I don't waste bottles. I try to do these little changes, but even though it's just one person, I think I'm doing my part, you know.
Yeah, I
That's all
mean,
I
well,
can do.
if it's one person and then 7 billion people do it,
Hmm.
it goes from one person to 7 billion. Like
Hmm.
it's huge change. And you know, I always
Hmm.
think about like vegetarianism, and everyone's like, "Oh, the world can't be vegetarian," but it's like if we all just didn't eat meat for one day a week, a lot of the problems that we have would just be solved. Well, not solved, but will be alleviated pretty
Hmm.
substantially. But people don't want to do that. So, but
That's true.
it sounds like you've basically turned into a very conscious person. It's like ayahuasca's. You're always using the terminology of like intent and conscious decision. It's
Hmm.
nice. Like a lot of people, they just go through their day just on autopilot for years on end. Like so, is that the biggest change you can expect from ayahuasca? Is to become more present?
I think what I expect is to always be a little bit better day by day, and being present is one of the ways, but um, I think being present allows you to live. For example, a person that's trying to lose weight, if you think, no, I'm going to have to change my diet forever, it's so difficult. But if you think, no, just now, what can I do now? So being present allows you little by little to make big changes, you know.
Mm.
So yeah, I would say probably yes, being present is one of the biggest changes.
But so is ayahuasca to you like a big change thing or a small change thing? Like, do you make
I think it was the biggest, and I have changed so many times during my life. I was so many things, I went so many places, but ayahuasca was the biggest for sure
No, but I mean,
so
like,
far.
yeah, but do you expect, like, when you're taking ayahuasca, is that, are you expecting big changes or small changes? Because it seems like it's almost both, right?
Nowadays, I don't expect much. At first, I expected big changes, and slowly I got big changes. Uh, Nowadays, I don't expect much, and whatever comes, I accept. For example, the last ritual, I just went with a lot of gratitude and to feel this presence of God, you know,
Mm,
because after a while I miss it. It had been 2 months since the last
mm,
time I went. And so then I got the social media instruction, just delete your social media for now, you
mm.
know, and that's something I accepted. Even though it's small, I think it's a big change because the amount of hours that I can spend without knowing in a week, how much life am I going to have now
A
without
lot,
social media, you know? So
like
even though it's a
tons.
small change, it is a big change.
I mean, I think it's these days like teenagers between 18 and 25 are spending at least 4 hours a day on social media, probably even more than that. Like it's a substantial amount. So you think over the
Hmm.
course of a week, you could save up to like 30, 40 hours pretty comfortably, like 20, 30, 40 hours.
Yeah, it's true.
But okay, so one of the things that a lot of people, because in the Western world, they are kind of told that ayahuasca can kind of be a cure-all. Obviously, I don't particularly subscribe to that idea, but it's like they believe that ayahuasca can cure cancer and things like that. Is that like a realistic thing or no?
That's very controversial, I would
Yeah.
say. So some people believe that. I'm not so sure.
Mm.
I'm not gonna say yes, and I'm not gonna say
No,
no.
I can completely understand. I just want to see your perspective. Like just
Yeah,
dance around it as best you can.
some doctors believe that very strongly, even. I think it might. It might. But
It might.
I'm not gonna promise that now.
No, no, I
But
don't. I
yeah,
don't.
but mental illnesses, issues and behaviors and emotions and addictions, those kind of things, yes, for sure.
Okay. No, it's I mean, yeah. It,
Some people believe cancer in general appear from an in not balanced self for, energy matters. If exercising and eating healthy helps you prevent having a cancer, why not ayahuasca? It's just
mm,
hard for me as a doctor now to say yes,
no,
it
of course I can
helps. Go
understand.
there, you're gonna be cured.
Mm,
But for sure, if I do have a disease like that in the future, or someone from my family has it, I'm totally gonna say go there. Actually, my father died of cancer when he was 59, and I wish I knew ayahuasca before because maybe it would not cure his cancer, but it would give him some peace of mind,
mm,
some more acceptance and understanding of the process of dying. Because ayahuasca does that. It
mm,
it makes you look to death,
mm.
and that's what makes you live differently, I think.
That's actually a really powerful thing when you think about it. And I think that's a lot of things that people don't understand or expect is like how drastically it can change your relationship with the idea of death itself, and how death
Hmm.
goes from something to be afraid of to being something that's kind of not just an expectation, but something not to look forward to. I think that's a bit extreme, but something not to be so scared of, and something that is still a wonderful part of the world, even if it is terrible.
It's true. And after I did my first bufo, this was the main feeling. Like I could just die today, and it's not because I want to, but it's
Mm,
because I'm not afraid anymore.
yeah. A similar thing happened to me in my third experience, actually. I was just like, okay, yeah, no, death doesn't worry me anymore. Like, I'll be fine,
Mm-hmm.
regardless. It's a powerful thing. It really is. And they have done the
Hmm.
same thing with the psilocybin studies. They've shown that just one treatment with psilocybin at a sufficient dose cures like the fear of death in terminal patients. I'm
It's
probably gonna
true.
have,
I've seen the studies, uh-huh.
yeah, I'm probably gonna have to link that down in the description, aren't I?
So my mother always says, when I'm facing death, I'm gonna take it. So that's
Yeah.
why I think she might take it one day, but not today.
But it's like, why wait that long? Like you're facing death on a daily occurrence. You walk down the street, you've got a no is not a zero chance of dying. So,
I think to take ayahuasca, you need to be courage not only to live the
mm,
experience that might be hard, but also to face the information that you're gonna access because it's not easy. Most
mm.
things come out to be your fault and something you
Oh
need
yes.
to do differently.
It's like self accountability and doing things like it's actually taking responsibility for yourself. Things might
Yeah,
have happened that weren't your fault, but it's your responsibility to deal with the situation.
exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. My dad always says that he would do heroin. He's like, "Oh, when I'm about to die, I'll do heroin." I'm like, "Come on, Dad. Like, choose something a little bit more fun. Come on."
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, I think ayahuasca is a pretty good one to end your life on, I guess.
Yeah. Ideally, I would say I would like to take ayahuasca in my deathbed, but I know that's going to be very hard, but who
Mm.
knows?
Do you think that the ayahuasca experience is analogous to dying, or?
It can be. It can be.
Mm,
Yeah. So you experience a little bit of not being attached to the body, of you live for a few moments how it is to be your soul, I guess. And it's not like you leave completely your body, but you have this feeling of I don't know, of connection with everything else, that it's kind of like you left your body. So,
Mm,
but Bufo was strongly a near death experience, you know. So that's DMT in general.
mm,
They say DMT is produced in large amounts when you're about to die. It floods your brain. They have some theories that that's why you see your life passing through your eyes because of the DMT. And so when you take ayahuasca, many times I went to my childhood and all of a sudden I kind of wake up in the middle of the ceremony like, what? I'm here. I'm not there, you know, because it's so real. It's like
mm.
I'm there. I went back. So, yeah.
Did you ever have like an ego death or an ego disillusionment or whatever it's called, the disillusion?
No, I think the closest I got was the Bufo experience,
Mm.
that it was a near-death experience to me, but with ayahuasca, she treated me well
40
all the
times she's
times.
still treating you good, still treating you well. I did her one time, she killed me, and I was like, okay, I guess that's what's happening, I guess.
No, that doesn't mean it wasn't hard. As I said
Mm,
before, I had many difficult experiences, but I don't think you can call it an ego death like people say.
mm.
I've heard some people talking about it. I don't think it happened so far.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, you need to take a lot from what I gathered actually.
Mm-hmm.
We had like a cup like that, and it was like
Mm-hmm.
it was black as well. It was black and thick, and it was like a big
Mm-hmm.
cup like this. It was pretty bad,
Uh-huh.
but it was good fun.
Pretty
Oh, I
good.
says
Pretty bad, but pretty good.
yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, like I saw things that I dreamt about. You know, I went in and I was like, okay, it'd be cool if I saw this. I'm not getting my expectations up, but then it just happened, and I was like, okay, like, do I need to do it again? Like, I remember it
Uh-huh.
in the thing. I was like fluctuating between like, why did I do this to myself? Why am I doing this to myself? Why am I doing this to myself? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what have I done? I'm dying. Like, I'm gonna die. I'm actually, and then I died. Right, I basically died, and then I come back to life, and I'm like, wow, thank God I'm alive, and thank God I did ayahuasca. And then it's just like I went through this whole like phase of like just worry, death, and then love and appreciation for life.
So that's the one thing I think all ceremonies have in common, because each ceremony is going to be different for you. It's going to be different from another person's ceremonies, but one thing they all have in common is this love.
Mm,
Ayahuasca is the love medicine plant. So
mm,
it can be difficult or very pleasant, but in the end, you're going to feel this love and this gratitude. So,
mm.
yeah.
I love that feeling actually.
Hmm.
Probably the best feeling I've ever had in my life.
That's why we keep going back.
Is it an addiction?
I don't think so, because that's something I question myself. So first of all, I can, even though I go often, I sometimes stay many months away and I don't feel the need to go, you know. I don't miss it.
Mm,
And it's not something, when we talk about it, it seems like it's just nice, but it's hard. Sometimes it's hard. I'm always a little afraid to go, so I don't see how something like that can be addicting, you know?
mm. I think the fear is a good thing actually because it shows like a healthy respect for what you're about to do. You know, it should be
That's true.
treated with reverence rather than just like going in because you want some kind of like roller coaster experience or something.
Hmm.
I think that's a big problem. Like I noticed like some of the people that I met, they were like expecting like this psychedelic show, and they were just doing it like almost like for an MDMA or LSD experience, and then they
Hmm.
got absolutely lambasted by ayahuasca, like completely taken to the cleaners. And then the people that treated it with respect went through the process of like making sure they were prepared for it, just had like the best experiences they've ever had. And I think it's like a very telling point to do ayahuasca with respect and fear,
Hmm. It's true. It's true.
and definitely fear.
Yeah, definitely.
So when's your next
Uh,
ceremony?
Probably in April, because so it's I'm not so sure if they're going to have a ceremony in March where I take ayahuasca, and probably in the end of March and beginning of April, so not before that. My wish now is to go every month and a half, 2 months, maybe 3 months. And if I need, I can go more often. I can go, there are other places that I know I can take ayahuasca, but for now, I think it's a good frequency to go every 2 months.
Yeah, this sounds actually quite balanced, to be fair.
Because it's very exhausting. It takes a lot of energy. It's a whole weekend. You need to prepare yourself, eating well that whole week. So I light up candles, and so I have this ritual the whole week, and then it's the ceremony itself is exhausting. So it's something you need to prepare yourself to. So I think every 2 months is good.
Mm. It sounds like a lot of work, to be fair.
Hmm.
I remember I think I'd spent like 3 weeks getting ready for my ayahuasca experience. Pretty bit too long, but it is
But
what
the
it is.
more you get, the more you prepare yourself, more meaningful it's going to be.
Mm.
So that's
Um,
why
but have you like what? How have you ever taken it more than once in like a weekend, like, or is it just like one time and then 2 months and
there are some ceremonies that I know of and that they take multiple times. For example, there is this place nearby that they take it on Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday night, and Sunday morning. So it's four times. I never went to. I think it's too
it's intense?
exhausting taking it once already.
No, I mean
But but
oh sorry.
but you can do it. The more I took it was like 2 years ago. I was part of this institute that I helped for about 3 months to serve ayahuasca. So I would go every weekend. I would take just a little bit, so I would be aware and be able to help other people through the
Mm,
process. That's the most I've taken was that
yeah,
time that I went, but after that I started going once a month again or so.
okay. I guess with a little bit like, you're not having too many problems, but you're still kind of connected to the energy. You're still kind of in the thing. Do you think
Yeah,
if you went
exactly.
sober, you'd be kind of a bit weird?
If I what?
If you went like sober without taking anything, would it be
Ah,
a
yeah.
bit, like, would it be a bit weird?
Some places they serve ayahuasca without taking it, but I think it doesn't make much sense, You need to take at least a little bit, uh, because you need to be part of the chain. And honestly, I don't think I would feel very comfortable going through this process and knowing some people didn't take any ayahuasca, so they're
Mm,
watching you, they're totally aware of what you're doing. I prefer when people understand ayahuasca enough to be able to take just a little bit and still watch out for you.
mm. Okay, that's a
I
very
think
fair
it's more
response.
respectful and it makes more sense to me because we're there to find this connection with ourselves, with everyone, with a higher being. So it doesn't make sense for the person to just be there, you know.
Mm. Okay, crazy concept because I'm probably not going to include this, but do you think that psychedelics could have contributed to humanity becoming conscious?
Some people say that the monkey took psilocybin and
And that's what
but
caused us to be people.
yeah, but I'm not so sure if that was the cause, but it can I think maybe contributed,
Mm.
for our development to get
Mm.
to where we are. So all people that we study in the past, they had contact with some kind of medicine plant. So maybe
I
it's
mean,
possible.
like you look at the entire world, you've got witch doctors, you've got shamans, you've got soothsayers, you've got like pretty much every culture had like before the Romans had like a some form of medicine taker, essentially like a plant medicine taker, and it's only been since the Romans and Christianity's prevalence in the world that we've moved away from it.
But don't you think it's weird how ayahuasca is made out of two different plants? One, chacrona, which is like a leaf that you need to cook, and the other one is jagubre, which is a
Divine.
Vine, yeah, exactly, the vine. And so they took exactly those two. They knew how to prepare it, to make the ayahuasca. So out of so many plants in the world, how in the world they had this idea to mix these two and prepare it like that? So we would have this experience. So sometimes it's crazy to think about it. Who came up with this idea?
I
Do
mean,
they just mix all plants?
in my mind, this is my this is what I think about when I think about the first person to take ayahuasca. He found some leaves, he found some vines. He was pretty hungry, and he was like, "Yeah, I just he probably had like other stuff." He thought, "Oh, I might spice my food with this," and then he cooks down the ayahuasca, and then he drinks like eats the food what he thinks is food, and then he takes it. He's just like, "Oh my God." Like, and then after that, it's like a process of like refining it, and then we got to where we are now over like 5, 6,000 years.
Maybe.
I
But
think that.
it's amazing. It's
Oh yeah,
amazing, and I'm so
absolutely.
glad this happened at some point.
Yeah, I mean, but also like we were always looking for psychedelics. When you think about it,
That's true.
the Native Americans they had peyote. So you go down, you're like,
Hmm.
where are the cactus, man? You got San Pedro, and then trying to go through find different cactus for the medicine men, and then they're like, oh, we've got vine and a leaf, and then you mix them together. Somebody probably stumbled on an accident and was like, "Oh, shaman, we found this for you." And he's like, "Oh, finally! I haven't had anything in years."
Hmm.
Just a random thought.
Hmm.
But I think we've covered everything I wanted to talk about now.
I know. We talked about so many topics. It was good. But I'm so glad we had this talk.
Mm,
I'm looking forward to seeing or listening to the other interviews that you're going to do.
yeah.
I think it's a great job. It's very important,
Mm,
and I hope it reaches so many people and some people get inspired by these stories and
I'm hoping so
uh,
too.
allow themselves to have this experience. That's great.
Anyway, just had to kind of short there a little bit. It's getting on. But if you're still here, thank you for listening the whole way through. That's mightily impressive. And don't forget to like, comment, or whatever, and all that YouTube stuff. I don't know. But anyway, have a great day and have a great life.